Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm getting back to one of my favorite bands ever. I'm going to talk about Ratt again. I talked about, I don't know in the order, but I did Out of the Cellar. I've done the EP. I think this is the third Ratt episode I've done, and it's going to be Detonator. This album is, I think it's a little bit, what is it? Is it maligned? Is it overrated, underrated? People love to give names to albums and things like that. I'm not sure what it is, but to get right to it, I will tell you that I love Detonator. Ratt, as you may know, is one of my favorite bands ever. I really love Ratt, and I'll do this episode in mind with, I don't do dedications, but I will keep in mind for this episode two people. My good friend Dallas up there in Saskatchewan, Canada, where it's probably still 3 meters of snow, even though we're in spring. And also to Bronco, Ratt Rock. He's obviously a big Ratt fan, as he's got Ratt in his screen name on YouTube. So for you guys, and I don't know who else will watch this. I'm sure Mike Pratt will watch this episode. So Detonator. Oh my God, what can I say about this one? Sometimes it's the albums you like the most that are the most difficult to talk about, I think. It's easy to talk about crap, albums that really suck. Like, for example, I don't know, Peter Criss's 1978 solo album, the worst album ever created in the history of recorded music. That's easy to talk about. But I love Detonator, and it's a little bit difficult. So I'll get to this one. It came out in 1990. Now, I've talked about when I did Ratt, I did the box set, and Detonator, the version that I'm talking about today, for what it's worth, it came from the box set, the record. And I'm sure I talked about them. For me, the first 5 Ratt albums, not including the EP, but Out of the Cellar, Invasion of Your Privacy, Dancing Undercover, Reach for the Sky, and Detonator, very incredibly, maybe more than any other band, especially a stretch of 5 albums, incredibly interchangeable. They all more or less sound the same. There are some slight differences. The EP, that had a different sound. But those first 5, to me, not just the same sound, but same sound, same, I guess, stylistically and sonically. I think they all sound the same. Really, and I know it sounds bad. Oh, well, they didn't grow. They did 5 albums. They didn't change their style. No, they really didn't. And I think in many cases, there's nothing wrong with it. There's also nothing wrong with change. By the time Metallica got to their 5th album, which was the Black Album, they had changed quite a bit. But I think Ratt didn't really change. Now, for this album, Detonator, sonically, for me, I've talked about this before. I think producers are very overrated. People love to talk about the production sucks, or if they'd had a different producer, the album would have been great, or the producer made the album great. And sometimes maybe that's true, but producers do, in most cases, much more than just making the record sound the way it sounds. In some cases, a lot less. I think like Rick Rubin, it's been established, he doesn't really have too much input on records. So this album, and I'm usually very knowledgeable about these things, I have no idea who produced Detonator, and I'll show it. I don't know who produced it. I know it was not Beau Hill who produced Out of the Cellar, Invasion of Your Privacy, Dancing Undercover, and Reach for the Sky. I can look at this. Produced and recorded by Sir Arthur Payson. I had no idea, and I've never heard that name before. I can't tell you anything else that guy has done. But yeah, he did it. To me, it sounds exactly, I don't care if it's Sir Arthur Payson or Sir Paul McCartney or Sir Elton John or non-Sir Beau Hill. I think it sounds, pretty much the same as the 4 prior albums. So this album, this was a real flop, as I said earlier, whether you want to call it overrated, underrated, maligned, whatever. This album was a flop, and I'm not exactly sure why. I maybe kind of have a theory, or maybe I can speculate a little bit. When you consider that they pretty much, as I said, have the same sound, the same style and everything, you would think, well, why did their popularity keep declining? I'm not sure which was Ratt at their peak, if it was Out of the Cellar or Invasion. I guess in terms of sales, Invasion, because at that point they were a headline band with 2 albums, so they could headline arenas. And then they dropped down a little bit with Dancing Undercover, and then a little bit more with Reach for the Sky, and then a lot more with this. And I on the one hand, I don't know why they all the songs I think were just as good. By the way, Desmond Child is all over this record. Desmond Child is a very famous songwriter. Co-wrote "I Was Made for Loving You" by Kiss, amongst other. He co-wrote a lot of Bon Jovi songs. I think, yeah, Bon Jovi for sure. And I think the songs are great. They're catchy. I don't think there was any. I've heard people say this album is more pop than the previous four. I don't really hear that. It's not heavier, but it's not pop to me. It's really the same. Maybe that by that point in 1990, here's my theory why I think it maybe was not as successful as its predecessors and why the Ratt kept going downhill. By this point, this album came out in 1990, and I think by that point, Appetite for an Onion was 3 years old. And I think there was a little bit of a shift. You can blame later the death. My God, this debate. I hate talking about it. I hate even thinking about it. It's stupid about how grunge killed hair metal. No, hair metal killed itself. Bullshit like that. It's such a stupid argument. This came out in 1990, so this was pre-grunge. But music of this style, hard rock, heavy metal, glam metal, whatever you call it, was shifting from the more glam-looking sound of, Cinderella Night songs. Poison, Look What the Cat Dragged In. And even Poison, Open Up and Say Ah. And Cinderella, Long Cold Winter. And, the Britney Fox and, things like that. That was shifting towards, I think the people that were listening to that kind of music in 85, 86, 87, 88 were shifting towards a little bit of a tougher, harder sound and look, like Guns N' Roses, maybe LA Guns, Faster Pussycat. I don't know who else. Badlands. Not really musically, but those bands, they had long hair and they were image bands, but they were not makeup bands. Tesla even was like that. They were a hair band, but not an image band, not a makeup band. And Ratt, I think Ratt at that point was maybe kind of considered a little bit old school. People were maybe a little bit tired of them. They were a little bit more, their look on this album was a little bit more, not street, but a little bit less glam for sure. Maybe even quite less glam. I see more denim here than spandex, and probably a little bit less hairspray here too. But I maybe that just wasn't enough. I think people looked at Ratt as like, oh, Ratt, I'm over them. I'm into Guns N' Roses now and LA Guns. Maybe that's why people were maybe just tired of it. I don't think it could have. If this album had come out in '85 as the follow-up to Invasion, to follow up to Out of the Cellar, I think it would have been just as successful as Invasion of Your Privacy. Or if this had been the first album in place of Out of the Cellar, I think it would have also been just as people would be raving about Detonator as much as they love, because Out of the Cellar is very beloved, as is Invasion of Your Privacy. They're all beloved by me. But that's what I think. Now, this also, another memory I have of this album, and I also do have, sometimes I do remember to pull out the CDs, and I had this, I still have it on CD now, and I dug it out today, and I got this album, or this CD, on, and there it is, that's what it looks like. It's the exact same picture, only smaller as the one I just showed you. I bought this on, look at this, September 5th, 1990 was when I bought that. Which seems late. I remember this being out in the summer, but maybe not. Or maybe I bought it later than, maybe it came out in June or July, and it took me a couple months to buy it. I would think at that point this would be like a first day purchase for me, but maybe not. Maybe you can go on Wikipedia and find out when this record was released. But my memory of this was, I did see Ratt. The very first band I ever saw, as you may know, was Ratt. I saw Ratt on April 25th, 1984, opening for Ozzy. And then I lived in Toronto at the time. At the time, they came back in September of that year, September 84, played at Massey Hall. They never came back again. Invasion of Your Privacy Tour, no Toronto. Dancing Undercover, no Toronto. Reach for the Sky, no Toronto. Detonator, still no Toronto. And I didn't know then. I still don't know why they didn't ever play in Toronto. I don't know if there was not enough demand for them. The promoters, just didn't want to book them. I don't know if one of them maybe had some kind of legal trouble that prevented them from getting across the border. I don't know. But they never came. But I did have tickets to go see them in Buffalo, New York in the summer. It must have been July, probably must have been August. I think it was August. I went to go see them in August in Buffalo, New York, which is not too far a drive from Toronto, less than 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. That's less than 2 hours, I think. And it was going to be Ratt headlining with opening. This was a great triple bill. LA Guns was second on the bill, and Bang Tango. I thought, that's a great show. So I went with my friend Pete and my friend Jeff, and we drove there. We got to Buffalo. Now it was at Darien Lake, which is, I guess, like a suburb of Buffalo, a little bit outside Buffalo City proper. And we somehow, of course, this was before the internet. I don't know how, but somehow we found out that the concert that day had been canceled. I remember, so instead we went to a mall and I bought the first Mr. Bungle CD and something else too. I don't remember what else, but I bought Mr. Bungle that day. So I never did see Ratt. That was my last chance to see them in August, I guess it was 1990. That show, and I think that tour, a lot of shows were canceled after the whole tour was canceled. Gene Simmons is having some difficulty getting enough people, I think, to come to his shows, and is going through some cancellations these days too. But I really, really miss, and I still have never seen Ratt other than that first time I saw them opening for Ozzy in 1984, and I was very, 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 now people would say I was gutted. I was just gutted. It's like somebody ripped my guts right out of my innards, right out from under my skin. I wasn't that despondent, but I was very upset and sad and disappointed that I didn't see Ratt. And maybe more than anybody, I would love for Stephen Pearcy, and I guess now Warren DeMartini, to play in Mexico City. All right. So to be clear, this album, like I said, take those 5 together, put them all together, pick anyone. They could rotate like this. They could go counterclockwise, clockwise, in any direction you want. I think those are 5. I don't know if there's a band that has a stretch of 5 albums that I like as much collectively as I do the first 5 Ratt albums. And it had all the Ratt trademarks. It had the great riffs. Great. When I was listening to it today, I realized, I guess I've always known it, but there are, Ratt, well, for me, one of the trademarks of Ratt is, or a lot of Ratt songs is, from the time the song starts to the time the vocals come in, at some point there's Warren DeMartini ripping a wailing solo or like a lead, filling in the gap from the start of the song to the lyrics or to the vocals when they come in. There's maybe only 2 or 3 songs on this on Detonator album that don't have that. It's got all the Stephen Pearcy's ad-libs, hey, and things like that. Oh man, I love Detonator. I really, really enjoyed listening to it twice today. So I will get to it. And as I said, it did come from the box set, and I will be going through all the Ratt albums. I've still got to do Invasion of Your Privacy, Dancing Undercover, and Reach for the Sky. I'm going to say a lot of the same stuff, so maybe when you see those coming out, maybe don't watch them because you've already seen it if you see me do Detonator. And this was also notable for this. Now, the record doesn't have it. The record, this is, and I don't think this came out in vinyl at the time, but this is the first Ratt. Is there anything inside? No, this is the first Ratt release on CD, and I kind of forgot about this until I saw this earlier today. The first Ratt record album, let's say, that had the lyrics in it. Ratt never put the lyrics in their albums. That always bugged me. I always hated it when bands didn't put lyrics. And there it is. And isn't it a shame that Ratt never did a live album? I would have loved that. So, and I have some thoughts about, in my personal opinion, why this album wasn't as big as it could have been. To me, there's one glaring omission that I think if I were in the record industry, that I could have saved Ratt with my great decision, and I will share that when I get to it. So the first song on this, there's 11 tracks on this. The first, it starts with Filler. Isn't that funny how it's such a great album? For me, it starts with Filler. As you may know, Filler is not a song that you don't like. Iron Maiden, Back in the Village is not filler. Enter Sandman is not filler. All right, those are just songs either that you don't like or maybe that you're sick of. To me, and maybe I'm being too literal, definition of filler is the record is too short. You got to make it longer. You got to fill it. It's 28 minutes. It's got to be 34 minutes. So you write another song. Cover songs, instrumentals, spoken word things that don't really fit. So the first song, and I hate doing this, it's so stupid, air quotes, it's called Intro to Shame. So let's look at this as one song. Intro to Shame, which is really an intro to the first song proper, which is called Shame, 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 with no commas. It's shame, shame, shame. It's not shame, shame, shame. It's shame, shame, shame. Classic Ratt. This is as good, and there are several songs on here that are as good for me as anything Ratt has done. And Shame, Shame, Shame is one of them. Very, very up-tempo, typical opener of that time of bands like Ratt. Shame, Shame, Shame. You should have known better than to cheat on me. Kind of funny looking back on it now as an adult. This is Stephen Piercy, I guess, lamenting that his woman cheated on him. I'm knocking at your door, but there's no answer. I hear the moans and groans of your nasty laughter. I'm kicking in the door as your breathing gets faster. Your trail of clues is leading to disaster. Once I looked into your eyes, I thought that you were mine. Thought that you were mine. Oh God, I can't remember. But funny that, these guys that were not just Ratt, but I guess all bands or all men in general, shame on us, the biggest horn dogs, but we cry and we cast shame, 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 shame. And when women cheat, we don't tolerate that. But who cares about that? Shame, Shame, Shame is a great, great song. Amazing album opener, and like a top whatever you want to say. I don't have an official list. Let's say top 5, top 10 Ratt songs. Although there are a couple more here too. Shame, Shame, Shame. Next is Lovin' You's the Dirty Job. This was the first single from this album. Went nowhere. I love it. As a song, I love it. There's only really one Ratt single. I like it. And you may know what it is. I've talked about it before. I like it. I don't love it. But for me, Ratt singles were awesome. Wanted Man, You Think You're Tough are maybe my top 2 favorite Ratt songs ever. I love You're in Love. You're in Love and Lay It Down. And you know there are Dance and Body Talk. I love all those songs. And this, it just went nowhere, and I love it. I love the opening riff of this. It's kind of, it mimics the riff is kind of like the same as the vocal melody. And this also has that kind of that lead or the solo leading from after the opening riff into the come on, let's do it, into that. I woke up in the morning and I'm still flat on my back. I couldn't move a muscle like I had a heart attack. The night was wild and woolly. How many bands say wild and woolly? I think Ratt may be the only one. The night was wild and woolly. Didn't think I'd make it through it. 'Cause loving you's a dirty job and I'm the man to do it. Ow! I love that song. It went nowhere, and I think, again, if it had been on Invasion of Your Privacy and had been a single, it would have been a smash success in 1985. But because it came out in 1990, people were over Ratt. I love that song, and I especially love I don't know if it's the bridge. I guess it's a bridge, not a pre-chorus. I'm gonna hold you till the end of time. I'm gonna love you 'cause it's now or never. I'm gonna kiss you till I make you mine, loving you. And then the solo comes in, then it goes back to that kind of bridge. I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Love it. And man, I love Stephen Piercy, one of my favorite singers ever. Warren DeMartino, one of my favorite guitarists ever. Ratt songs, some of my favorite songs ever. Oh, I can't say enough how much I love Ratt. Next is the Cowbell, Scratch That Itch. Good up-tempo Ratt rocker. Loves Like a Bug that you catch in a snatch. Scratch that itch, honey. I love Scratch That Itch. Perfect Ratt song, fit in beautifully with their catalog, with the rest of this album. But again, nobody cared about Scratch That Itch. Next was it Hard Time is next? After Scratch That Itch. Oh no, sorry, One Step Away. Oh man, what a great song this is. This is one, I think that in my wisdom, if I were in charge of things, And I think everybody would be happier and in a better place if I were in charge of a lot of things. One Step Away, what a great, very, very top Ratt song. Very, very, very melodic, very, very catchy. And maybe that's why people don't like it, because they were tired of it. And Guns N' Roses was catchy too, but this was a little bit more, it's not pop, but it's a little bit more happy sounding. I Waited for You, Baby, on that very, very summer song. I waited for you, baby, on that hot summer night. I was so hot. No, I waited for you, baby, on that. I waited for you, baby, on that hot summer night. I was so hot for you. You were nowhere in sight. You thought I was fooling, so your heart took a flight. I guess we're star-crossed lovers. We just can't get it right. 2 years later, I was out on the town. 2 years later, I was out on the town. And now I've totally lost my place. But man, One Step Away, I think if that had been a single, whether it was the first single instead of Lovin' You's The Dirty Job or not, I think One Step Away, I think a chance was missed at that being a single. I think it would have been a great single. Love One Step Away. Now, the last song on the album, which would be side one, is Hard Time. Good song too. This is a little bit slower, not as up-tempo as the previous four. But it's got kind of that, it doesn't sound like Lay It Down, but it's got that kind of groove to it, that kind of hitch in it that's a little bit like that. You're doing hard, even your soul ain't worth a dime, or even your soul ain't got a dime. You're doing hard time, hard time. Love it. Perfect first side. Now, the second song, the first song on the second side, let me play. I don't know if it's the A&R guy who's in charge of this or the suits at the record company. The first song on the second side is called Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. It's a top contender for my favorite Ratt song ever. Maybe this one, Wanted Man, You Think You're Tough. Maybe, I don't know. This, now John Bon Jovi sings on this. And remember, this was 1990. Bon Jovi was at the height of their superpowers. They were one of the biggest bands in the world at that time. And they had the singer, John Bon Jovi, singing on Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. And he was prominent. Now, he was singing backing vocals during the choruses, but it's not like he was, sometimes when you see credits that so-and-so sang on this song, but you can't really hear them because maybe they sang as a group. It's John Bon Jovi singing backing vocals, but it's just him, and it's very, very obvious that it's him, and it sounds amazing. I like Bon Jovi. At least, Slippery When Wet in New Jersey are, for me, classic albums. And forget about Bon Jovi. The song itself is great, but then John Bon Jovi singing that chorus, what a chance Ratt missed to not have this. Why didn't they have this as a single? Regardless of the fact that John Bon Jovi was on it, it's a great song. Now, if they had put this out as a single, maybe first or second, I don't know, that's too detailed. And especially if they had done a video for it and got John Bon Jovi in the video, Ratt they would have enjoyed, I think, a renaissance like Motley Crue enjoyed, I guess, a year earlier when Dr. Feelgood came out in late 1989. And, Motley Crue had kind of slipped a little bit, not as much as Ratt, and then, Dr. Feelgood brought them back. And I think if, I don't think it was ever like a big deal. You never really knew about John Bon Jovi singing on Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. Missed opportunity. I think major missed opportunity. I think people would have loved that song. Maybe not, because like I said, people didn't like the Pretty Boys stuff back then like John Bon Jovi. But I feel, in my infinite wisdom, that it would have been a good move for Ratt to have Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. I may not be a Sherlock, but you ain't got a. I may not be a Sherlock, but you ain't got a clue. Heads I win, tails you lose. I may not be a doctor, but you're sick as a flu. Oh my God, what an incredible song! My favorite song on this record, and one of my top Ratt songs ever, is Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. Next is All or Nothing. Yeah, you know what? This is maybe we're going complete opposite direction here. I like it. It's okay. This is maybe of these first 5 classic Ratt albums, from Out of the Cellar, Invasion of Your Privacy, Dancing Undercover, Reach for the Sky, and Detonator. All or Nothing is maybe my least favorite out of all of them. It's still an okay song. I don't really have a problem with it. But it's a little bit, I don't know, it just doesn't grab me. There's not it's not like a great rocker like Shame, Shame, Shame or Scratch That Itch. To me, it's not catchy like One Step Away or Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. And something in this song that I had completely forgotten. And when I say forgotten, like when I listened to it today, it was almost like, was this in the original version? I have no memory of it. At the end of All or Nothing, there's a woman singing, wailing, like in a backing vocal, similar to, and not to compare Ratt to the Rolling Stones, but at the end of Give Me Shelter, it's just a shot away, that woman just wailing away on the vocals. There's a woman like that on All or Nothing. And when I listened to it today, I was like, man, I have no memory of that whatsoever. So All or Nothing, still a great album, but this song is so-so. But then they come right back with Can't Wait On, I Can't Wait On, Can't Wait On Love, You Got Me Shaking. This is another rocker, classic Ratt song. Can't Wait On Love is great. Now here's another one. This is the third one and now this was a single, Giving Yourself Away. And I do remember they did a video for Giving Yourself Away. This is one of very, very few. Ratt didn't really, and maybe why Ratt didn't have the success that Motley Crue had, and Cinderella later, and Poison, is they never really had ballads. I mean, they had Closer to My Heart on Invasion of Your Privacy, and I Want to Love You Tonight on Reach for the Sky, and Giving Yourself Away on Detonator. They never released any of those as Closer to My Heart and I Want to Love You Tonight. They didn't release videos for those. And now they did do a video for Giving Yourself Away. This is another, and I don't know if it's my memory playing tricks on me. I swear I don't remember seeing a video for Giving Yourself Away until internet era, even later than that, even YouTube era. It was done, I think it was recorded live in Japan. I mean, they took the live footage from a concert in Japan and then, added the music on top of it. This, I think, should have been a big hit. If they had done they did do a video for it, but I don't know, maybe they just didn't get the promotion. I definitely didn't hear it on the radio, and I swear I don't remember seeing the video until much, much later. But I think Giving Yourself Away is a great, great song, and pretty much as close to a ballad as Ratt gets, along with the other two that I mentioned. Giving Yourself Away is amazing. And then the last song on this is Top Secret. I think this is an old Ratt song going back to 2 or 3 albums prior, maybe even back to the EP. And I think it was one of these songs that was laying around. They just never did it. And it's got a great, great riff, and it's an up-tempo rocker, and great close the album. Top Secret. Love it. Fantastic album. One little tiny misstep with All or Nothing. But other than that, I think if you're a Ratt fan and you like those first 4 albums and you kind of gave up on them by the time this record came out, or if you still listen to Ratt now, but you think, I haven't listened to Detonator in years or decades, listen to it. I can't promise that you'll like it, but I think maybe people need to listen to it now with fresh ears and get a new perspective on it after all these years, because I think it's excellent and fits in. They didn't miss a step after those first 4 on this, and then this one blends in seamlessly. All right? So that's all. And I have to say also, their album covers sucked. Ratt album covers were garbage, especially the last 2. Detonator, this album cover sucks. And Reach for the Sky maybe sucked even more. Dancing Undercover, it had the 5, faces, kind of like the Black Flag, the 4 bars logo. It had the 5 guys without the burgers and fries. Of course, Invasion of Your Privacy had some good wank material, so that was okay. Out of the Cellar, also a good wank to that one, but their last 2 album covers suck. And actually this is better, because look at the CD cover. At least here, there's they got the name of the record there, Detonator. There's a woman's hand, about to press the button. I don't know what's going to happen when she presses the button. Maybe Ratt's career is going to go down the toilet. Maybe that's what happened. This one is nothing. And bands spend a lot of money, especially back then, and had people working in the record companies that really know what they were doing. And this album cover sucks. And Faith No More is one of my, God, I'm getting off track. Faith No More is one of my favorite bands ever. All their album covers suck. But anyway, regardless of the outside, The inside is what counts, and the inside is called Detonator. It's by Ratt. Thank you for watching, and I really, really, really strongly love this album.